Hello everyone, good morning. So let's get started. It's June 17 today. Delhi police moves Supreme Court against bail to three students in riot cases. Yesterday we discussed this like during the CAA protest in Delhi, like all over Delhi, we saw like many people spreading hate and you know trying to create a ruckus. And yesterday in the paper we read that like High Court kind of like granted bail to like three women, I think. And this is related to that, I presume. Yeah, it is related to that only. In fact, the High Court had made particularly sharp observation in its June 15 order accusing the government of blurring the line between rightful dissent and terrorism. Okay, so it will be interesting to see whether the order will be revoked or something else. Access death in Telangana. TN is for Telangana. Yeah, over four times official COVID-19 tally. This is the problem. If the numbers are not reported in the right, you know, uh, as right, like what's the ground situation, then people will become careless. Cabinet panel approves additional fertilizer subsidy. This is good, I think, for farming. The estimated additional subsidy burden is around 14,775 crore, with the center emphasizing that this is a one-time measure as a part of COVID-19 relief. Okay, so it is related to non-urea fertilizers. Soon drones might ferry vaccines. Okay, I saw might expression of interest. Okay, the Indian Council has had expression of interest from drone operators to develop a delivery model. Technical specifications. The tender document lays down the technical specifications required, which include the ability of the drones to fly beyond visual line of sight, carry a payload of up to 4 kg, and cover a distance of up to 35 kilometers. Wow, interesting. This is really interesting. UAPA is book Twitter news portal journalist. Yeah, it was related to his comment on a Muslim guy getting beaten. So, yeah. Mithun questions on poll speeches. Wow. Mr. Chakraborty said his remarks were only for recreational purposes and had nothing to do with the inciting violence. The 71-year-old actor had approached the Calcutta High Court for questioning the legal proceedings against him. On June, the court acted that the actor be interrogated by video conferencing for the time being. In the meantime, the petitioner on his advocate on record would communicate the email address of the petitioner to the state so that for the purpose of interrogation of okay blah blah blah. So it's nothing, it's just a exchanging of emails and stuff. Fed up with the long queue, metro commuters take to social media. DMRC reiterates need to control passenger flow to ensure adherence to COVID norms or rules, whatever you guys prefer. So yeah, this is also a problem because you have to wait a lot, and this is not like the old days. So yeah, people will get angry and frustrated. Plea challenges capping non-PDS beneficiaries. The Delhi High Court on Wednesday asked the Delhi government to respond to a plea challenging its non-public distribution system guidelines, putting a cap of 20 lakh beneficiaries for providing them dry ration. A bench, under the scheme, each beneficiary are to be provided with 5 kg food grains. Okay, modify guidelines. The impugned guidelines have put an arbitrary limit of 20 lakh beneficiaries under the scheme. The limit of 20 lakh appears to have no rational basis whatsoever. The provisioning and the estimates of the number of persons who are in need of the benefits under the scheme ought to be based on the number of people who in fact had benefited under a similar scheme last year. In 2020, when the first wave of COVID-19 pandemic occurred, pursuant the orders of this court, nearly 69.6 persons who did not possess ration card registered under the e-coupon scheme and were provided ration. Therefore, ration must be provided to all those who are in need, as also ordered last year. Okay. So yeah, this should be done because many people they don't have ration cards and stuff. So what should they do? Die. So road safety to be focus of new center at IIT Delhi, I think. IIT Delhi on Wednesday announced that it will establish a transportation research and injury prevention center with a focus to produce state-of-the-art knowledge to address road transport and traffic safety in India and regions with similar socio-economic conditions. Sustainable transport. The areas of research and study will include road planning and design interventions associated with traffic safety, road users' behavior associated with traffic safety, and a sustainable transport system and safety aspects of new vehicle in mixed traffic. Okay. I think they'll identify and rate a particular car with a particular value, I think. And if that value passes threshold because of its movement or something, then I think they can tag it as something like to look after, like to keep in mind that it could create a ruckus or something. They look government to start diploma courses in yoga. That is good actually. One hell for supplying arms to gang. Wow. Kejriwal announces plan to train 5,000 youth as health assistants. This they will help doctors and nurses in a case of a third wave hits the city. So this is good. You can apply from June 17 because they are trying to get ahead of the wave in case it happens. 70-year-old resident of Kori Basti ends like poverty dealer booked for duping him. Domestic workers seek compensation. Okay. Center denied not to probe oxygen this. So the hits out as at unnecessary interference by center. BJP refutes allegations. Okay. So yeah, I think yeah, those will come out. Fresh stock of vaccine arrives for 18 plus group in the nick of that time. Okay. Yeah, yesterday we were talking about that they are very much needed. So LG reviews what is the situation requirements. So this is for Delhi. Northeast. Conditions not favorable for monsoon to cover north. Cyclonic circulation lies over UP and there is also a western disturbance. Lastly, atmospheric conditions are not favorable for the advances of monsoon into Rajasthan and many parts of Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana and Delhi. However, there could be a slow progress of monsoon into some parts of Uttar Pradesh during the next 5 days in association with the existing cyclonic circulation over East Uttar Pradesh. Yeah, so wait, guys. I'll be there, so you'll get a relief from this hot environment right now. Don't stop treatment even in case of E-card anomalies. Private hospital told to continue services to beneficiaries. Okay, let's go. Kerala CEO seeks Kerala CEO seeks report in certain cases. State BJP chief accused of corrupt practices during black money legal action. Okay. Chennai Zoo loses another lion to virus. Six Myocysts killed in exchange of fire. Okay, let's move. Record FDI inflows, yes. Cause for celebration, no. The inflows during 2020-21 have not been in sync with the government's priorities for economic recovery. In an otherwise gloomy economic scenario, one area of cheer for the government has been the numbers of inflows of foreign direct investments (FDI). In a recent press release, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry announced that India has attracted highest ever total FDI inflow of US 1881 approx billion dollars during the financial year 2020-2021, and it is 10% higher as compared to last financial year. The Reserve Bank of India reported that the equity component of inflows was around $61 billion, a 19% increase over the US $51 billion received in 2019-20. Okay, taken on their face value, these numbers are indeed credible, especially given that the global FDI involved in 2020 had declined by 42% over the level in 2019, and inflows to developing countries had fallen to 12. However, if we consider that this aggregated data on inflows into India, the reality of foreign investors' participation in the Indian economy seems a sharp contrast to what the ministry has presented. RBI data as a pointer, the RBI provides a useful disaggregation of total inflows of foreign capital into India. This shows that the net of repatriation, okay, repatriation, disinvestment, FDI inflows had declined by 2.4 in 2020 as compared to 2021 as compared to okay, this was due to the 47.2 increase in disinvestment which had reached a record level of $27 billion. The RBI reports yet another disquieting the aspect of foreign capital inflow in 2020-2021, a high increase in portfolio investment, fueled entirely by a 69-fold increase in the participation of financial foreign institutional investors totaling US $38 billion. This was the second highest level of FIIs, foreign institutional investors involvement in India, after they invested 4.42 billion in 2014. Surely sustained sizable repetition of the long-term update together with a large increase in speculative capital does not bode well for an economy looking to recover from an economic slump. Analysis of FDI inflows remains largely incomplete without referring to the largest recipients of FDI, which is possible using the Department of for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade database. Currently, data for the first three quarters of 2020-2021 are available, during which 86% of the equity inflows for the financial year were received. This data shows that there are three Reliance group companies, namely Jio, Reliance Retail Ventures and Reliance BP Mobility, together received 27.8 billion, of 54% of total equity inflow during the three quarters. Other large recipients were with far lower shares were Schneider Electrical India, Schneider, Baichu, Acrelor, Mittal, GMA Airports, and Amazon Seller Services. More than 20 billions of promoter shares in Geo platform, currently having the largest wireless subscriber base in India, was sold to 14 foreign investors, including Facebook, Google, KKR, and Qualcomm. Okay. Okay, so now what they're trying to highlight is that more than 50% of the inflow is in geo only. So you can't really say that it's really going well for the economy. Yeah, this is the picture which many fail to see. Energy inefficiency can short circuit cooling India. As Indian homes will be a key site where future cooling demand will play out, awareness of energy efficiency is crucial. More frequent and intense heat waves are expected with rise in global temperature due to climate change. In last 3 decades, there have been 660 heat waves across India. Sorry, I'm really sorry. 12,273 deaths. India, with currently low penetration level of air conditioners, will likely require sustainable cooling services to keep citizens healthy and productive. The India Cooling Action Plan projects the number of room air conditioners to become about 4 times in the next 10 years and about 10 times in the next 20 years, making India the world's largest energy user for cooling. Scan data. Delhi surveys result an obstacle. Large-scale adoption of efficient cooling appliances will be essential to providing the required thermal comfort in a low-carbon manner. We find that low levels of energy efficiency awareness are a major bottleneck that hinders the purchase of more efficient appliances. A third of the household did not know the Star Labeling Program, which is a government program meant for refrigerator and air conditioners. Yeah, and people are now aware of whether they should go with a copper coil or other coil, and which is better, what to look into this. The impending cooling demand transition in India offers a potential advantage because the majority of investments in cooling technologies, infrastructure and behavior are yet to be made. There is unique opportunity to lock in energy efficient consumption pattern. Awareness campaign on the benefits of energy efficiency along with subsidies and financial incentives that help with the higher upfront cost can help drive up the adoption for more efficient technologies. So yeah, I think this is something that everyone kinda has an idea only. Terrorizing dissent. SC Bale's order are an indictment of attempt to portray Delhi protesters as a terrorist act. Caught between a statutory bar on grant of regular bail and a judicial embargo or any close examination of available evidence at the bail set, those arrested under the country's main anti-terror law have been languishing in jail without trial for extended periods. That is true. The Delhi High Court orders granting bail to three student activists jailed for over a year for their alleged role in the February 2020 riots in Delhi represent a clear-headed effort to get around such impediments. Sound in legal reasoning and interpretation, the judgments of Justice Siddharth Midul and Justice Anup Jairam Bambani have made a salient distinction between those accused of offense against the country's integrity and security on one hand and protesters of dissenters roped in unjustifiably under the rubric of terrorism on the other. Okay. So basically, they are saying that like this act is very powerful and it should be used to protect the integrity of the country, not to like keep silent protesters behind the bars. But I don't have much information on the role of these activists in the riots, so I'm not literally like concluding anything. Closure compensation. Legal steps must go hand in hand with diplomacy to avoid Enrica Lexie repeat. 9 years after two Italian Marines shot dead two fishermen of the Kerala coast under the belief that they were pirates, the criminal proceedings against them are said to be formally closed. The Supreme Court of India has ordered that the criminal trial against them be stopped after Italy deposited compensation of 10 crore. The Permanent Court of Arbitration, a tribunal under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, had last year ruled that even though India and Italy had concurrent jurisdiction to try the case, the two Marines had concurrent jurisdiction to try the case. Sorry, the Marines enjoyed immunity from Indian jurisdiction as they were acting on behalf of a state. The Union Tribunal had also ruled that Indian fishing boats in the Anthony and the victims were entitled to compensation as Enrica Lexie, the Italian vessel, had violated the boat's right of navigation under the law of sea. The two Marines are likely to face trial in Italy, but as far as India is concerned, the monetary compensation may have to be treated as the only available form of closure for the movement. Given the legal tangles of distance, the lawfulness of their arrest and the location of their trial, as well as the provisions of law under which they should be tried, legal accountability through a criminal trial has been rendered extremely difficult. The legal heirs of the two victims are likely to get 4 crore each, and the owner of the fishing vessel 2 crore. Okay. Yeah, because someone comes and just kills, and just because they belong from a country with which India has a kind of like a special jurisdiction, so it gives them immunity. Same goes with ambassadors. A seesaw of science and pseudoscience. India is drifting rapidly towards a state of ignorance even as it aims for development. Prime Minister Narendra Modi seems thoroughly modern, but he also appears to be stuck hopelessly in superstition. He promotes the exploration of the moon, orders the most sophisticated fighters, and launches the first bulletin projects, boasts about India being a vaccine powerhouse that supplies vaccines to the world, or products and medicine. But he also simply plums for Saturday. He invokes cosmic energy. Um, Nobel Nobel winner physicist Richard Feynman coined the term carbuncle science to describe all kind of pseudoscience that passed off for science over the ages. Ancient superstition, okay, blah blah blah. He spoke of a cargo cult of people, the South Sea insiders of the Pacific, who during the Cold War had seen planes landing there and delivering cargoes. After the war, they wanted to receive smaller gifts from the skies, so they prepared landing stage to resemble runways, set up flares on either side, made wood pieces that looked like headphones, stuck bamboo sticks to resemble antennas, and waited for planes to land and deliver the goods. The cargo they waited and waited for and repeated the exercise by adjusting the sticks and flew, but the planes did not land. They were missing something. They did everything right, but there were no planes. They were changing the form but not the substance. We really ought to look into theories that don't work in science that a slew of offering. India has a some feet for charlatans, godmen, sadhus of various hues, editions of native fools who have morphed into self-anointed doctors and quacks who have turned apothecaries and practice various alternative medicines. Apothecaries. Traditional practitioners have set up labs on a limited scale for analyzing blood sugar and cholesterol level, and equipment like X-ray machines and ECGs on the lines of the Western medicine to acquire the veneer of science that gives them credibility. Wow, from home remedies to everything, there are many cures that work for illness. Alternative medicines from other parts of the world, including treatments of medicines used by tribal countries, have been useful and passed down. Scientific progress has been possible only because the great men of science acknowledged their ignorance and were not afraid to question each generation and added to fount of knowledge because they left the door of unknown azure. Co-values. The Indian civilization from its known beginning has served as a quest for knowledge for people to explore the deep meanings of life and existence. It is great advantage of ideas in the history of the human spirit stretching back 3000 years. Nothing is more sacred to a man than his own history. For us Indians, a study of Upanishads is essential if we are to preserve to our national uh, national being and character, said an Indian philosopher, Pandit, President S. Radhakrishna. He added, "There is much in our power." Okay, Mr. Modi must heed the above words. Modern science is not antithetical to Indian thought. I mean, the words this guy writes are really mind crunching. The spirit of inquiry, embracing the new ideas and evolution through acquiring new knowledge, is at the core of our being from the Upanishadic times. Without losing time, Mr. Modi must steer the nation back to the path of science. Mr. Whoever you are, the thing is, there was a science behind the bell ringing thing. And sometimes it's not about scaring COVID away. It was about to bring the country together for a specific reason, to show the whole country that we stand in solidarity. Solidarity. Yeah, something like that. I'm so sorry for my language. So, sir, with all due respect, just let's just leave it here. Acquitted but not forgotten. The right to be forgotten must be studied along with the concepts of fair criticism and accountability. The right to be forgotten is generally the right to have information about a person removed from public access. The proponents argues that an individual should be able to determine the development of their life in an autonomous way. Persons cannot be perpetually stigmatized for past conduct. Okay. For now, individuals may request data hosts to take down some content and it may be taken down based on the policies of the respective host. For example, some embarrassing selfies that a person posted as a minor may violate the terms of services. These photos may be taken down if so requested because they not only violate terms of service but also unnecessary and irrelevant. However, these photos have since become part of, say, a scientific study on an internet usage pattern by teens, or if the person now holds a prominent government office, they now serve a public purpose. There's a general consciousness that people should be allowed to modify or delete information uploaded by themselves. However, whether this extends to information uploaded by third parties is uncertain. Take for instance a news article reporting an accusation of sexual harassment against a public figure. If the person was never convicted, should they continue to bear the infamy? Is abhorrent conduct reportable only if there is a legal proceedings to support it? And these things are not clear. The wrong that the Delhi High Court sought to correct could have been achieved by narrow tailoring. Okay, so I think we know what the problem is because there is no clear way of how the data, the right to, the right to, what was the right? The right to be forgotten. Like the clear lines are not still here because if suppose you do some kind of, someone accuses you of, let's just say physical, let's just say harassment, okay, and you are a big figure, so news articles are going to write about you, and if you are not convicted, then would, like, according to this right to be forgotten, will they be compelled to delete all that? So yeah, this is something that is not certain yet. Higher education and COVID-19 institutes should be given financial assistance to create safe campuses for students and staff. Exactly, they should, but there's still lack of a serious consideration for the safety of campuses, which may be among the most vulnerable sites for the spread of infection at the community level. Apart from routine advisories in the form of notification for standard operating procedure protocols or guidelines issued from the time to time at the apex level by the university grant commissions and the state level by the respective education department, nothing concrete has been done on the ground yet. Yes, it is recommended inter alia considering a task force and setting up helplines, roping in counselors and mentors for providing. For providing mental health support and enabling the well-being of all stakeholders and creating a team of well-informed volunteers trained in life skills, including the SS and NCC. the need for quick action. But these measures are far from reality. Explicit budgetary allocation for higher education institutes for COVID-19 management were found to be missing in the state annual budgets. This apart on the part of institutes and policymakers could endanger lives and may lead to a complete shutdown of academic activities in the time to come. It is incumbent upon the UGC to direct state governments to generously provide financial assistance to higher education institutes for managing the COVID-19 crisis. The resources could come from the State Disaster Response Fund for the year 2011-2022, 2021-2022. Okay. The abysmal financial state of higher education institutes, especially state and universities, combined with a lack of will on the part of state government already overwhelmed by the vaccination drive. So what they are recommending is there should be some budget for disinfecting, for face mask, and like for like some kind of like plan for like how the activities will be distributed for like study purpose and all. So these are something that are like that are very necessary, very much necessary if you are planning to open the universities. India to launch deep ocean mission with cabinet note. It is poised to be among the few countries that can launch underwater water missions. Class 12, Supreme Court to hold hearing on assessment. CBC set to submit its criteria for asking marks today. Education Ministry officials says good. In 6 months, Trans ID portal has issued 1500 certificates. Okay, let's go to business. Direct tax receipts jump this FY. Such reflects healthy exports, dispute resolution scheme impact, speed scale of vaccination to shape recovery. Yeah, exactly. They are directly proportional. Deal pricing in real line with practice law. Adani stock extend losses for a third session. Automation to cull 3 million IT jobs by 2020 report. Firm set to reap 100 billion in savings. Wow. India to have 330 million 5G connections by 2026. It's a big number. Okay, so I think we are done for today. Let's go with foreign. Biden put in hold a Great Power Summit. The leaders agreed to return their ambassador to their post in an attempt to lower tension. Israel strikes Hamas site in Gaza over incendiary balloons. Palestinians shot dead in West Bank after suspected attack. China offers glimpses of Tibetan life without the Dalai Lama. The Communist Party has been trying to cynicize Tibetan life. Okay. Tibet has eradicated extreme poverty, research 2019 government report on Tibet. People now lead better life and live in contentment. A brand new socialist Tibet has taken shape. Okay. EU nod for more Belarus sanctions. Okay. Okay, I think Russian, a Russian journalist or someone like that was like a flight was stopped in Belarus, and I think he was arrested, and this shouldn't have been done. And because of that, I think they are imposing the restrictions. No radiation from nuclear plant Beijing. Okay. So yeah, that's all, and I've been getting less views, so I just hope that any one of you could tell me what could be wrong with it. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.